Hello, I'm Alasdair MacLean and he is
James Hornsey.
We are the Clientele, or two of the Clientele, and this is our episode of What's in My Bag.
Follow me down, we'll hitch a ride before the party dies. Blue over blue, all these days and nights with you.
My first pick is a disc by Rashid Ali. He's a drummer. He was the drummer in John Coltrane's late band, along with Pharoah Sanders, Alice Coltrane, Jimmy Garrison, and a bunch of other guys. He replaced Alvin, the old drummer of Coltrane's band, and he brought in much more wild, kind of free, pulsing sound. He's my favorite drummer in the world. I just love the way he plays. It's crazy, but it has a pulse, and it's completely elegant at the same time.
Here's my first choice. It's a Kazuki Tomaka LP from 1974 or something, I guess. And it's called A String of Paper Cranes Clenched Between My Teeth. And it's kind of acid folk from Japan, from the 70s, and he's one of my favorite singers. I don't speak Japanese, but you kind of don't need to understand the words of him. It's really powerful, moving music, and
good cover too.
It's a great cover. That's why I picked this one particularly. Yeah. We got to see him a few years ago in Cafe Otto in London, and I got to meet him afterwards, and he gave me a big bear hug and offered me a swig of his whiskey, even though we couldn't speak to each other, but it was very nice.
I'm carrying on with jazz at the moment. It's Archie Shep. And a lot of people said that Archie Shep was a bit of a fraud. You can't tell from the cover, but he was actually a very, very good-looking man. And he was, I think either he could have been an actor or he was an actor. And people thought that he did the new thing, the Ornette Coleman kind of free thing, almost as just trying to be part of the gang. But I don't agree with that. I love this imprint, Actuel. It's a French imprint. I don't know this record, but I thought I would take it out to say I believe in Archie Shep. I think he's a great player, and it's on a great label, and he did lots of great things. So that's my second choice.
The Dead Sea, original Flying Nun pressing from the late 80s. I already have this album in various other forms, but I couldn't resist getting the original. They just played in London 3 nights, and I went to all of them, and it was amazing.
The next one I'm going to choose is this drum and bass record. A DJ, I think, called Sherelle. I'm not really sure. I love this record and I know it well, but I'm not really sure of the specifics of who does what on it. I think this was a mix that Sherelle did at a festival in Britain, but it's got a bunch of incredible drum and bass tracks that she's put together. Kind of old school, you know, like very simple, stripped down, polyrhythmic, electronic music. And I love it. I've always loved it. Used to pluck up our courage to go to Goldie's Club in Notting Hill in the 90s, you know, and friends of mine would also go up on the motorway, the M25 onto the Orbital to go to drum and bass nights. So the lifelong love of drum and bass.
I've got a picture disc of Erkin Koray, Turkish from the 70s, and he sadly died last week, which was particularly sad. I almost saw him live a few years ago, and I missed him by one day. Turkish psych's kind of one of my other obsessions. I was spending a lot of time in Istanbul about 7 or 8 years ago and got really into it, and he's probably the best.
13 for Elevators from Austin, Texas. Stacey Sutherland, I think, is their lead guitarist, is my favorite lead guitarist. So it was him and Robbie Robertson before Tom Verlaine came along. He played guitar in a beautiful, understated, tasteful way. You have Rocky Erickson's beautiful voice, you have the whole band who are excellent musicians, and you have the incredible lyrics, these kind of strange, prophetic, spiritual lyrics. It's not one of their original albums, but it is a compilation of some of their best songs from the 3 albums that they made. I think they're one of the best bands of the 1960s. They're just absolutely awe-inspiring band.
Okay, following on from my last choice, more Turkish music, but contemporary stuff now. Altin Gün, probably the best kind of covers band in the world, I guess, because they're just kind of playing all the old classics, all the old folk songs that the guys in the 70s used to play. I think there's a few originals, but they do it very well.
This slightly gaudy-looking record, which comes with a poster, if you want it, is by Linval, also known as Scientist. And along with King Tubby and Augustus Pablo, he's kind of does a similar sort of thing, but to me, he's better. To me, he's like my favorite. This is a very interesting one because it's actually got the original mixes, it sounds like, on disc 2, as well as his dubs on disc 1. He mixed a band of a friend of ours recently live. He got the console in the middle of the crowd and just started mixing them as they played. So yeah, brilliant. I love Scientist.
This is a compilation of all the issues of Garage Fanzine, which was a really key fanzine from New Zealand in the 1980s, packed full of amazing interviews, some contemporary ones as well. And we were lucky enough to meet the publisher of this fanzine when we played in Wellington back in maybe 15 years ago, I think. And he sent me some original copies of the fanzine, which was great. Now I've got them all.
I love the guitar playing of Bossa Nova artists, you know, because it's done on nylon string guitar. Again, it's just fluent and elegant and harmonically very complex. And one of the best guitar players in the original wave of Bossa Nova is Baden Powell. It's a beautiful cover, and I don't know this record. Obviously, I do know his playing, but I'm looking forward to hearing this solo record by Baden Powell and seeing what he gets up to on it and trying to copy it, maybe.
I've got Richard Young's album here, Modern Sorrow, which is his latest vinyl one to come out. And Richard Young's is one of my favourite artists. He's incredibly prolific, releases quite a few albums every year. They're all completely different from each other, but they all sound like Richard Young's. I don't know how he does it, to release that much stuff of such high quality all the time. He also releases loads of stuff on Bandcamp as well, and I saw a notification just came through this morning that there was a new one out. So, but this is a really good one. He's using auto-tune on his voice in a really creative way, and it's really beautiful stuff. So, Richard Young's.
This is the Boards of Canada Peele session. John Peele was a DJ in England who got all the bands he liked to come in and do sessions. He played the Clientele once and said it might have been a mistake when he did. But I'm not holding that against him because I've got his records, his session that he did with Boards of Canada in my hands. And part of the reason I have is that there's a song called Happy Cycling. It's from their first record that's a little bit more stripped down, perhaps a little bit more aggressive in this session, and rhythmically, it's extraordinary the way it builds up. It opens a whole new world of possibility into sound. And it's just one of those songs that when I heard it, my jaw dropped and I just had to stop everything I was doing because I was completely overawed by it, I suppose. Specifically the John Peele version of Happy Cycling on this rather minimalist art. But yeah, it's a great version. Everyone should listen to it.
By Maxine Funk, or Funky, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. She's a kind of folk singer from New Zealand and has released a whole string of really beautiful records in the last few years, kind of home recorded sounding, like lo-fi, but she's just got this beautiful voice and really lovely songs.
I'm a pony, I'm a Pegasus, to a positive force.
Thank you so much for shopping with us today.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you for
us.
having us. It's been wonderful.
But as the nighttime fades away, I don't know anyway. Is it written on my face? I don't know.